Let's compare Forest Moss Distress ink with Forest Moss Distress Oxide ink. Distress ink is a dye-based ink, so it's got a bit of transparency to it. And Distress Oxide is a dye and pigment blend. So there's a little bit more opacity to it. It's got a little bit more of a chalkier finish, and because of the pigment qualities, it is wet for just a little while longer. I'm using these both on an embossed piece of cardstock. I'm just using a brayer at first to put them on the cardstock. You could also use an ink blending tool, and you can also go straight from the pad. You could also stamp with these, so there's many different ways you can use both pads. You don't want to use the same ink blending tool on the Distress pad that you've used on the Oxide pad. You don't want to cross-contaminate that way. Now, the cool thing about Oxide pads is they oxidize, or they change slightly when you mist them with water. Water activates that action. So once I'm done putting ink onto my embossed paper here, and I am using mixed media cardstock because I knew I was going to want to spray with water. At first you won't notice a difference, but once they're dry, you'll really notice a difference. Spraying them with water lets that dye start to blend and bleed and steep. And you'll notice with the dye ink, it just kind of got a little bit darker, and you still see some yellow from that dye. Whereas the Oxide, the pigment part went a little bit gray and chalky, and the dye part bled out. And it's a really cool effect from both of them.